We're rolling.
Sweet.
Yeah, I just want to talk to you a second about greatness. How do you define greatness?
Well, I think the first thing is obviously it's very subjective. Greatness for everybody means a bunch of different things, but for me, I think greatness is achieving stillness and mastery in your craft.
Stillness?
Stillness in terms of you're able to transcend and I might get a little out there with this, you're able to transcend time, you're able to transcend your perception of the world and yourself when you're in the act of performing your art. So, for example, when you create a solo, when you create a melody out of thin air, it's not really just you, it's you connecting with the inner energy of the world, that driving life force that gives everything life. And when you're able to connect with that and become synonymous with it, then to me that's greatness.
God, that's fantastic. I love that. I think you said it really well. Let's take it another step further.
Yeah.
So you acquiring or attaining that state while performing is one thing, but then it doesn't do much good unless there's an audience. So
right, yeah, because it doesn't force you.
Well, I mean, if the creator created this universe and all this world, and there were no animals or humans or anything to appreciate it, it would be what for, Yeah. So you practice your ass off and you get good at attaining this place of stillness where your sense of self isn't intervening with the process or the expression. But there's this audience there that is a huge distraction because part of you wants them to love you. That's part of the reason that you're doing all this work. You want to be loved,
Right.
That's one of the deepest motivations. So that in itself, it can be real distracting. So you need to take that into account when you're in your living room and you are so good. You're fantastic. You go out on stage, oh my God, it's not your living room anymore.
Right.
And so to be able to maintain what you're talking about, that stillness, that focus, that's something that is to be remembered while you're in your living room, that it's not going to be the same. And you need to have a steel gate where nothing is going to keep you from that zone.
Right.
So that can be part of your practice.
Yeah, one thing that and I take this from my baseball days. I had a really great coach, actually a vision coach.
Could you tell the audience a little bit about your baseball days?
Yeah. So I grew up a baseball player. I played at Stanford. And then I got drafted for the Boston Red Sox. But I'd always struggle with finding that my expressiveness in baseball, it was very the process of the game was very counterintuitive to me, and to how I wanted to express who I was to the world. So I ended up retiring kind of like as I was at the peak of my career, or not the peak, but like as I was performing really well. I just hit 300 last year. And I did that to pursue music because I felt like it spoke to me into that inner self that I wanted to show the world. To my inner being that I needed to show the world to, and as a result, I could tap into my inner greatness much more deeply, much more meaningfully than I ever did in terms of on a baseball field. And so that's kind of how that came along, but I did learn so much from baseball, just in terms of how to deal with stress, how to deal with performance, how to, center in and tailor your training to performance. Because if you can, it's like we have these guys called 5 o'clock hitters. It's guys who can hit bombs in BP in batting practice, but can't hit during the game.
Yeah.
And part of my thing was, no, I'm a game time hitter. And I had this great coach who taught me, a vision coach by the name of Dr. Bill Harrison. He just passed away last year. He's one of the best coaches I've ever had, because it was all about visualization, putting yourself in the feel and the flow and the ebb of the game before the game happened. So when your mind doesn't know, when you're visualizing something, your mind doesn't know if it's real or not. It's just like, it's there. It feels real. So if you can keep visualizing yourself in those moments, visualize your feel, how the guitar string feels against your fingers, the noise of the crowd, and being able to tune that in. Maybe like visualizing making a mistake and recovering from that mistake. Just visualizing those different things really helped me in baseball, and it's starting to help my practice and be more fine-tuned with my practice. Right now I have on my desktop, I have a couple of pictures of like big crowds from like a stage point of view, so that when I'm practicing, it's not like, oh, let me be careless. No, let me do it with intention, because that's the goal, to be able to.
Right. So is that's something you do then? Like maybe right before you fall asleep, you picture yourself on a big stage with an audience.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. When I hear this stuff, and I see you and hear about your background, I recognize a star that is being born. You're birthing yourself, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Roger, it's funny because I always, in terms of stardom, that's always been kind of a funny thing for me, because that's the thing that I pursued for baseball, is stardom. And in the process, I neglected. So it's basically like, if I'm going on a walk to the peak of a mountain, I was always looking at the peak. And I think there's a lot of value to look at the peak, but I wasn't looking at the foliage along the way and appreciating like, oh, this is how I connect with this for me, not how other people see it, but how does it connect with me? And so my process with music is all about, how does this sound, how does this melody connect with my understanding, the beauty that I am seeking in life. And for me, that's my focus. Of course, I want to play in front of hundreds and thousands of people and have millions and millions of people listen to my music, but the focus for me is first and foremost that connection.
Right. Yeah. That connection it's like the connection with the muse. When you when you play something that you love, I mean, you can just do this, and that's thrilling. That's enough right there. You've just done something really thrilling. I mean,
yeah.
And so when you feel that thrill, then how do you communicate it? So then you need a vehicle, you need a song, and so what we're going to talk about here is understanding intervals. And we did this a little bit last week, I think, where everything we do here will be in the C major scale. Those are the only notes we'll hit. But like you take and go and yeah.
I think I'm out of tune here. Whoa.
While you tune, I'll talk a bit. So it's like the relationship between two people. When two people are harmonious with each other, it's a straight line of being in tune. But if somebody gets out of tune a little bit,
yeah,
then
all right, we're good to go.
Then you can hear it beating. There are waves. It's no longer a still pond. There are waves. ha. That third thing, that heterodyne that you're hearing, that other waveform, I mean, the C is one waveform, the third is another waveform, but the combination of them produces a third waveform, which is called a heterodyne. And that's the magic, that heterodyne, because it's not something that anyone played, it's just something that's there because of the laws of physics. And each one of those heterodynes make you feel different. The 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 being the strongest, most solid heterodyne. It's the strongest node. When you're playing around with chords, feel how those different chords make you feel and let them inform your songwriting.
All right.
Okay.